If you really break everything down, I wonder if you could just, maybe this is like, people can achieve this through meditation or something, is just being able to kind of live in a constant state of accepting what each moment is rather than hoping it's something else.
The simplest way to put it, I have problems.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to another show of the Pain Management Podcast. I had to think about what podcast I was on for a second. It's been a while. Okay. This week we're switching up the seating arrangement because, my brain is like that. But over across from me is the world's greatest co-host, my boy, Mr. Jimmy Moynihan.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing good today.
Is this throwing off your feng shui?
I don't like change.
I may have to move.
No, it's fine.
He just leaves the podcast.
Yeah. Jimmy's like, this is not comfortable. What is happening right now?
I could switch seats with you. Would that make you more comfortable?
No, this is great. I feel fine.
Okay,
I like my seat, and I think change is good. Change leads to growth.
Yeah.
And our guest today is Joe Jacques. My
yes.
good friend.
Yeah.
Joe Jacques is
the arbiter of change.
Joe Jacques is a comedian and a writer. He's written a lot of cool screenplays, and he's currently writing a script. He has a script written, and you're working on
working on a pilot. But
starting to
we shouldn't
it.
say because maybe it won't happen, and then I'll look like
say
a
much.
fucking
You
idiot.
can say as much as or little as you want. But anyway, comedian, also a very good friend, and a big support system to me.
Yeah, I love you.
Throughout the years, I love you too. So good. It's good to have you on.
Yay.
I like this, man. I love the love that I feel right there.
No, Jimmy's one of my fucking dogs, dude.
How long have y'all known each other?
I don't know. When did I meet you? Did I already have cancer?
I think it was right before you got cancer.
Yeah. So that would have been like 3 or 4 years ago.
No, it was like, about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And Joe got you have.
And at first you were just somebody who would give me
cancer.
all the spots at your shows, but then you turned into a friend.
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw you. I immediately really liked your comedy. And I ran a few shows in Florida, so I put you on all of them all the time.
Let's go back because I just heard you just so casually drop. Yeah, was it before you got cancer? You had cancer?
Well, yeah, Jimmy's been aware of that. So yeah, I find it interesting when I say it, and then it can go like, oh, sometimes I think it helps me because some people find it really interesting, and then on dates sometimes girls are like, ew. But no, yeah, I had cancer, and that's sometimes a way to kind of put the timeline of my life together.
Yes.
I do with girlfriends too. Like, oh, was that when I dated this person? I can also go like, was I bald for that? So yeah, no, I had cancer like 2 years ago. That's the point of this podcast, right? Is to go over the...
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Crazy shit.
Your life literally has a BC in it. You have a before cancer.
Before cancer and after cancer,
And the AC Slater, kind of, because you're cool.
Yeah.
But, okay, so you had testicular cancer, and you had you have one ball now.
I got one ball, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my defining trait.
It's a pretty cool trait. Mm-hmm. Another
It's
trait.
also funny we're talking about it this early because I also love talking about it in a way where I'm like, it's my most interesting quality as well.
Well, I don't think so. I
Well,
mean,
that's
it's up
sweet.
there.
Yeah.
It's up there.
But if I'm at a party, I can pull that out of like, I got one ball. Isn't that crazy?
It is pretty crazy. And I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have.
Have I? No, I haven't.
Yeah, I did. I showed it to you in your apartment with a bunch of other people there. Or no, Vinny's apartment.
That was Vinny. Yeah.
Was it? You were there, weren't you?
I wasn't there.
Oh, damn.
But,
Dang.
yeah. So that was, how long did you have cancer?
A year. I had it for 1 year. From when I turned 22 to around when I turned 23 was the complete process of all the cancer stuff.
Dang.
How did you discover it?
My ball got really big. And, well, yeah, you were there when I discovered it, right? Or like you were around.
Not the first time.
When did I tell you?
I think you told me at an open mic for a show we were on.
Well, because you know Captain.
Yes.
So he had leukemia. Did you guys talk to him about any of this?
He was on last week. And
He was on when I was gone, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So you have 2 cancer episodes in a row. Yeah, his is way crazier than mine. He had leukemia when he was like a teenager. But it was funny because I got my diagnosis of like my ball was really big. It was like the size of a strawberry or something in the thickness. And for a long time, I was like looking up on Google, like one ball is bigger than the other. Is that normal? And Google would be like, yeah, one ball is supposed to be bigger than the other. But no, it's not normal. It was like, I got it checked out. And then.
Damn, Google almost killed you.
Yeah. And then it was kind of shocking, but testicular cancer is like one of the most survivable ones.
Yeah.
It's like 96% survival rate. So throughout the entire process, they never told me I was going to die or anything. I was never like grappling with mortality. It was tough, but I found out, and then shortly after I started telling people at open mics and stuff, and then I brought it up around Captain, who I didn't really know at this point, and I was telling people I had cancer, thinking I was like the most special boy in the world, and then Captain was like, "Oh yeah, cancer," and like showed me his port scar, and like we talked about it.
Whoa.
But I remember you and Captain not liking each other because you both wanted to be the kid with cancer on the scene.
Well, I remember when Captain showed up, it's not that I didn't like him, but I felt intimidated by him because when I started comedy, I was like, 19, and I look cute now, but I looked so much younger
You were
and cuter.
so cute.
Yeah, I was like the cute little boy.
Such a cute little boy, and then Captain comes along.
Well, yeah, that's an advantage on stage because people are like, "What's this kid doing saying the F word or whatever?" And then Captain showed up, and he was so much younger and cuter than me. So
the heat effect.
Yeah, I was, and then all of a sudden I'm like 22, and I'm like, "Oh damn, I'm not that cute anymore, dude. I'm just a college student." But yes, and then he got cancer, and I was like, "This kid's taking everything from me."
So selfish.
And now we just do a lot of drugs together.
Oh man, that's still a better love story than anything I saw on TV last year.
Captain's my other love. It's Captain and Jimmy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I love Captain too. And it really is nice having this is basically our main crew from Florida, and we're all here in Austin now, and it is something I'm really grateful for.
Yeah,
no, I've kind of noticed that a lot of the Florida guys that you ran with, everybody is here now. And that's got to feel good to bring the whole scene here, man.
Yeah, I came here 6 months ago, and immediately when I showed up, I was welcomed in because these guys had already been here like for a while, so they kind of got in the cruise, and then I got invited to stuff based on that, and it was just very warm and welcoming coming to Austin. I feel like this is my home now.
Yeah.
It was cool. You know what's weird? I love watching comics I know from Florida move here and seeing them meet like the Austin comics I know for the first time. It's like a crossover.
Does it feel like two friend groups that come together?
It's like a crossover episode where it's like they're clashing. It's like, well, this is so cool.
Yeah, no, it is pretty lit. The year before that I spent in New York, and it was a cold wasteland, and I didn't like it. It was okay. It was actually a really cool experience, but not for comedy. It was like...
Really?
Yeah, no, I didn't like it at all. Well, it was fine. It was just like here, you walk down 6th Street and you can see like 6 people you know, and it feels like a big party.
Yes.
In New York, everything was so spread out, and there's like 1,000 comics everywhere, and it was just like kind of disorienting, and the winter was really cold, and you have to walk everywhere.
Can I ask you one more question about your ball?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they decided they were going to remove it, right?
Yeah, that was the step number 1.
And so what was that surgery like?
It's called a starts with an O. I'm trying to fucking remember.
Let's see.
Whatever it is, it's
Ball ripper?
Yeah, it's orchiectomy. That's the name of it. And they basically told me like there was 4 separate times where they told me it was going to be the last thing I had to do. The first one, they were like, you just need to get your ball out. And that's it. You're done. Like 65% of people get their ball out, and then they're pretty much done. And so that was scheduled like immediately. Like everything moved very fast. And it was an outpatient surgery. It was like no big deal. It's like they just like cut me from right here. This is where the scar is, because your balls, they start up in your abdomen and then drop down.
Right.
Like your balls drop. So that's where they took it out from. They took it out from here. And then it took a little while. It took like a month before I was like walking around and didn't think about it or feel it anymore. And there was that period where I had cancer, but now it's gone after like 1 surgery. So it kind of felt like stolen valor a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't tell people like, yeah, I had cancer. It's, if you had like any major surgery that was like just as bad as what I went through. And then after like 3 months, you have to go in for all these checkups. They told me, like, wait, actually, you have to do, it's like not gone yet. It's moved up to your lymph nodes in your abdomen. So we have to do 4 rounds of chemo, which I didn't know what chemo was. And I unless you like know somebody who did it, I didn't have any idea it was like this. I thought a round of chemo was you go in probably like an hour. They like do something to you.
Right. Yeah.
And then you go home. A round is 5 days of 6-hour sessions. So they gave me a port, which is like a little metal thing in my chest. And then I would sit in the infusion center. It wasn't like a hospital room. And they would access my port and give me, it was 3 different drugs. It was like, I can't even remember the names, but I would just sit there for like 6 hours. My parents were like, they would drive up to Orlando and like chill with me and get me food and stuff. People would visit. But yeah, I'd sit there for 6 hours. They would give me Benadryl, so I'd be mostly asleep. And then they would give me 2 weeks off after those 5 days. 5 more days, 2 weeks off. That was 4 rounds of that total. At first, it was really easy. I could like go to open mics and but then toward the end, like it compounds, like it just gets harder and harder. And then after sessions, it would just be like a lot of vomiting and, you know, like cancer stuff. I'm sure you've heard. It's not that fun. But I was in college when I was experiencing it. So like it was weird to have the juxtaposition between trying to party and like live a normal college life in between all of this stuff going on.
Yeah, because you're at the age where if I'm throwing up, it better be because I was at a kegger the weekend before.
Yeah.
And then you're throwing up because I went to chemo.
Yeah,
Chemo,
yeah.
Didn't you do Molly like the night before like a surgery?
Well, no, I had finished round 1 of chemo. These are, I think, I've tell people these are like my craziest stories, but just meeting you, I can now tell them to a new person. Jimmy's probably not only heard me say these stories, but also has watched me tell them to a new person I haven't told yet.
No.
But no, that was one of my wilder experiences. It was after my first round of chemo. And they told me, like, it's like a 60-something% chance you lose your hair. And I had like long dark hair about this length. And one of the things about chemo is like my immune system was so low. Like they were basically told me like, don't be in crowded like places, like don't be around a lot of people because it's way easier for you to get sick. And then I was like, I have a ticket to this like rave, like this huge music festival in Orlando, EDC. And I asked my doctor, like, do you think it's a good idea, like, if I go to this rave? And he was like, no, I like, don't be in crowded bars. Like, that's a horrible idea. And my plan was to sell my ticket. Like, I go to this pregame where like all my friends are like meeting up beforehand. And I was going to sell it to somebody at the pregame, but I'm there and I'm like watching all of like it's like a house of like 30 kids, like all dressed in like the rave gear.
Yep.
And they're like toasting to like, we're alive. And I'm sitting there like, I think I should fucking go. And so I go and I do ecstasy for the first time. Awesome. Have you done ecstasy?
I have not. It's on my list. It's on my
pretty
bucket
sick.
list.
I would recommend going to a rave as well. I don't like the music unless
I do
I'm on
love raves,
drugs.
but
yeah. No, I do it. And then I'm there and it was like the best night ever. I was like dressed like Pikachu. And it was my first time, so I'm just like, oh my God, the lights and all the crazy shit. And then we're all leaving. It's like 1,000 kids all leaving at once. And I like pick up my Pikachu hat and I go like that. And I just pull out like a bunch of my hair. And I'm still on drugs. So I'm like showing my friends like, dude, what the fuck? Like, look at this. And they're like, stop doing that. It's very upsetting.
They're like, you don't know what you're doing to us.
Well, they didn't even understand it. They're like, I didn't even know this was that serious. And I'm like, no, dude, what? And not only that, but the doctor was so right. I got incredibly sick. Like the next
your immune
day.
system shot from that, man.
Yeah, no, I woke up with a fever and then I went to
man.
the emergency room right after because I had the port in and that's like a foreign object.
Oh, shit.
And so, yeah, then I like, but still greatest fucking night ever. It was like,
Worth it.
yeah, I was pulling out my hair, but then after like, I like brought one of my buddies who I hadn't seen in years and like we went back to my place and just pulled like an all nighter, just like yapping all night. So worth it. But then I was so sick for days and my hair was falling out. like way more than the first night. Like it started just like, I almost wish I filmed like a sketch or something because I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like some kind of sketch where I'm able to like just pull out it would just come out.
Ugh.
But I was so sick that I couldn't invite anybody over yet to really like shave it off. So I waited like 3 days of like hair all over, and then 2 of my friends came over and they shaved my head for me. And which is funny to like put it on them. They told me way later they had like an emotional reaction to that, and I was just sitting there like, thinking it was no big deal.
Dude, man, there are people that shoot whole videos that get millions of views about them, like, hey, I'm going to shave my buddy's hair, and then I'm going to shave my head in solidarity with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, it's fun. This is one of those moments of synchronicities. Is I forgot about this until my mom brought it up recently. But when I was in high school, they did it was called St. Baldrick's, where it's a big event where they get a bunch of kids to like shave their head in solidarity for cancer. And I did it. Like I shaved my head like in the gymnasium in front of all these kids. And it's funny that I did that, and I like made myself bald for cancer when I was a kid, and then later
You somehow knew.
Yeah, no,
cancer was pulled up like, I heard you talking
lined
shit.
up. Yeah.
That's what happened.
I was trying to show respect. I want that money now also. I was raising money for
I know that some of that should have went to you.
I know. No, none of it went to me. I didn't get anything cool out of it. Just one ball. Which is
I
also
got one
pretty
ball
cool.
and nobody bought me a video game. Somebody should have showed up and did something. Since you're going to be home by yourself, sucker, here, play this.
My friends would like bring me McDonald's, and I'd be very grateful. And then later they'd text me like, yo, could you Venmo me for the Big Mac I bought you? I'm like,
Piece of
dude,
shit.
I know you don't have a job, but chill.
Cancer, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
You can't afford to give me a Big Mac?
There were a lot of moments where there'd be like a really stark contrast between like what I'm experiencing as like a college kid trying to like have fun, and then there'd be like, there was like one night I went out to like some, big party with a bunch of friends, and I had found out the night before, like it was the 4 rounds, right? And then, so you just get news. Like I would get news like you have to do more chemo, and I don't even know what to do emotionally with any of that. And, and then I'd be at this party with like, it's like Bohemian Rhapsody's playing and like everybody's singing the lyrics. I'm like, and then I go to the bathroom and I'm like in the bathroom like crying because I like just found this like crazy shit out the night before. And then I'll kind of collect myself and walk back out, and it's this like beautiful like all these friends having fun, and I'm just like grabbing a beer like, yeah, everything's cool, like I'm normal. Yeah, that shit's weird. So it was the 4 rounds, and then after that was they were 2 months pass, I think I'm done. Yeah. And they're like, wait a minute, it's still in your lymph nodes, and we need to do this surgery. It's called like an RSPLND or something. And here's the scar. I could show it to you right here. You can still kind of see it was like from here down, huge surgery, and had to stay in the hospital for like a week after to recover. I guess the funniest thing about that was when I left the hospital, I was, the staples were still in, and it took a while before I was able to like really walk around and like hang out with people. And I go to an Oscar party, and this is the first time I've like really left my house and like tried to like do anything.
Right.
And we're having fun, and I'm chilling, and I'm enjoying the Oscars, but it's like kind of uncomfortable to like sit down, and like, I'm having to like lay on the couch and like take people's spots. So at some point I'm like, it's toward the end of the program, I'm going to go back home and like get my rest. And I leave, and 10 minutes later, Will Smith slaps Chris Rock, and I missed it.
Oh,
I missed everybody's reaction, and I could have been there to see it.
Oscars ever.
Yeah, no, it's just it impedes your life. And then after that surgery, they were like, after a couple months, they're like, wait, 2 more rounds, and then you're done. And
that is the worst Billy Mays impersonation a doctor can do. Wait, there's more. Like, no, doc, you're terrible.
Yeah, there was a few of those.
Now, were you masturbating during this time?
Yeah, the whole time.
And when did cum stop coming out?
Cum was I'm glad you remember all this stuff, so I can describe it.
What's it called?
Retrograde ejaculation. Yeah, that was after the abdominal surgery. It was one of the side effects they told me would happen. Is they were like, you're gonna have retrograde ejaculation, and in my head I'm like, yo, is this really gonna fuck my dick up? Like, am I not gonna be able to have sex? And they were like, you can still get your penis hard, you can still feel an orgasm, but nothing comes out. It's just, it goes back into your bladder. And essentially, yeah, that's all. It's like I don't come anymore, but I still feel it. You know, it's just like it's just dust out of my.
First of all, greatest cancer ever.
No, it's pretty sick. Yeah, no, there's a. I wish I could put all the details into like one long thing, but
Please write a one-man show.
I've thought about it for
You
sure.
should do.
But there's been multiple comics with one ball, I think, that have done specials about it. Every time a new one comes out, I'm like, bro.
Well, you know what's weird? Yesterday I was just talking to one of my best friends, and she's two dudes back to back. She met, both all had one ball.
We're
And I was
out
like,
there.
how is this happening? How did you find two? And they both look alike. They had this. I don't want to say.
They just look exactly like me.
Okay, here's what it is. They were both white guys. And they both had long blonde hair.
Oh shit.
Mine's fake.
And
though.
then you're telling me you have this, and I'm just going,
Yeah.
did they just ship a bunch of one ball white dudes to Austin recently? What is? How am I hearing this all?
I ask people, I have one ball bits, and I ask people in the audience. Most of the time, there's nobody in there that I'm like, anybody? But sometimes it'll be like, yeah. And there's people in the audience that have had the same thing. We're out there. It is like a superpower though. This story is the one that's like the most like, it's gonna sound like a brag, but this is an example of like one ball being kind of like a superpower. As I was at a party, I like just drove back up. I think I was even like stressing about like some girl I was hanging out at the time, and I was like on my way to this party, just like worried about this little situationship. And then there's my buddy always wanted to see my nut. He kept asking me that, please show me your ball, and I'm like, no. And I'm like, I don't have like a reason to show you. I'm just gonna like whip my ball out. And these two girls there were like, we'll show you our boobs if you show us your nut.
Oh, cool.
And so I did. I pulled my nut out and I showed them. I showed like the entire party like my nut, and they pulled their tits out. I'm like, what the hell? And then that stupid bit, but it got the ball rolling in the
ball rolling.
Yeah,
I love that he said
there's
that.
not a better way to say it. That made those two girls kind of like ooh, and they were kind of like flirting with me for the rest of the night.
Ah.
And it got weirder and weirder to the point where they're like, we're gonna drive back to our place, come with us. And then I had a threesome that night, all because of the one ball. It ended terribly though. They hate me. I might ask you to cut that out.
You know what? I'm gonna just say, if you don't believe in God, that's why. Stories like that are why I do.
No, I think I had I think it was like my next round of chemo was coming up like shortly after that, and so God really was like, here, take this.
You need
I was
a
like
win,
laying,
kiddo.
I was like laying in bed with him. They're like, what's this scar? And I'm like, dude, it was crazy.
Wow. Cancer rules.
Yeah, it got weird later. If you have a I don't know. They'll never
I
know.
need
They'll never
that
know.
clipped out. I need that part where you say cancer rules just to be my text alert.
I don't know. I don't want them to see this.
I remember that threesome saga.
It was
as
a
it
huge
was
saga.
happening. Every time I saw you, I would ask, so what's going on?
Trust me, man, they won't see this. They don't watch our podcast.
Yeah. Well, all I'll say is if you have a threesome, it was the greatest night ever, and it kind of fucked me up sexually because nothing ever got better than that.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself in that position, understand that for that to happen, stars really have to align, and you can't force it. So if you find yourself in a room with those two girls again, don't bring it up.
Yeah, it's a fleeting thing. It's funny. You think,
you're
well,
right.
we did it once, which means
we did it once. What's
now
up?
we're in a relationship.
Yeah.
No, it's a little more complicated than that, but that's the advice I would give: is don't fly
good
too close to
advice.
the sun.
Icarus, that is the greatest advice you can give to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
They
fly that
didn't even-
close to the sun and survive it, you don't try it
I
again.
know, yeah.
Don't try it again. Not with that two. You try it with another two.
Yeah.
So I had a question because me and Joe talk about relationships a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in a couple of relationships, I think, each since we've known each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I yap to you all the time. Whenever I have a slight issue in a relationship,
same.
I'll tell you about it.
There's So, how much do you want to talk about do you want to talk about, you don't have to talk about your last relationship.
Oh, no, I'll talk about anything.
Cool.
That's what you're here to get into, right?
Yeah. So Joe you moved here to to Austin and you were in a long distance relationship,
Yeah.
and then that ended. What do you think? What do you think went wrong?
It was distance is always tough. Have you ever been in a long distance relationship?
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard because our problem was that we didn't have a planned end point to it, you know, and it was a thing for a while where it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, who's gonna move where? You know, she didn't really want to move to Texas. I wasn't moving back home. So yeah, at some point we would like have conversations about it and be like, well, like we love each other. It's going to work out, whatever. And then like move that conversation. And then eventually it was like, she had a month-long trip to South Africa, which there was like a time difference. And it was just like, I think that made us realize it was like getting a little tough to, you know, stay in touch and stuff. But yeah, no, it's tough. I'm probably like 5 months out from it, and I still think about it. How long does it take you guys to get over relationships before you stop
I never
thinking
do.
about it? Yeah.
No, it takes a long time.
Yeah. It depends on how emotionally invested you were.
Yeah,
I saw a serious future with her, but it's again, it's funny when you see a serious future with somebody, but none of the practicalities make sense. Like all you know is like, I love this person. And,
Love doesn't make sense, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a constant battle throughout the relationship of like everything is not lined up and like where our lives are going.
Yeah.
But all we know is that like we
love each other.
Yeah, we love each other. But that can only go so long, and it probably could have gone longer for me. I think it was a thing where she was the one that kind of brought it up and was like, "Yo, I don't think I'm, you know." It was a lot of things, you know, it's like, I don't know when I'm going to move. It's, you know, she's in grad school. So it was like harder to establish when we could see each other again outside of like waiting 3 months or whatever.
Yep.
And it's been interesting to be single again. I mean, it was, and we even have the vibe now, which is very strange of like, we don't like talk or anything, but it's like, it ended very like friendly and amicable and chill. And so we'll be like, we'll send like a meme or like a, you know, like, oh, this video that we used to, you know, it's like this new thing is out, you know, see this.
Yeah.
So I like got a text from her yesterday, and I'm in a weird position of being like, I really liked hearing from her, but now all I'm thinking about is like, I should text her more. Like I should get back into it. So I think the only like, it would be better if I really keep a distance from that, just so enough time passes to where I'm not thinking about it.
That's actually could be self-care for you too.
Yeah. I mean, I moved on. Like, it is funny to say all this publicly, but this will be the last time I mention that, that it's, you know, I don't think these people are watching this, but yeah, so I'll be in like situation shit, or like I've been with a lady since then, and she was really cool, and we hung out all the time, and it just ended recently because she had big feelings for me, and I really liked hanging out with her, and I liked the whole thing, and she was great, but it's like my brain was still, you know, in that last relationship. It was basically like a rebound that turned into like a.
This is getting serious.
Yeah.
Dude, that is tough. I remember when I was at your age, because, you know, I was in the military when I was in my 19, you know, 18, I went in, and then next thing I know, I'm married, I have kids, and they tell me, hey, you got to leave your new wife, and she's pregnant, and you got to go overseas. Then we hit a mine on the Tripoli. So what was supposed to be 6 months turns into dang near 9, almost a year.
God.
When I came back, my kids were 6 months old. Mm-hmm. They've been born, and now I'm holding 6 months. I have missed the first 6 months of their lives.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things where, you know, that was long distance, and then you're sitting there, and you're not calling. We didn't have cell phone, you know, like we had the fat cell phones, but you couldn't use them overseas.
No jacking off on FaceTime.
Yeah, so it was like, it was truly long distance, and I'm having to write you a letter.
Oh my God.
You know, and getting care packages.
Yeah, no, that blows.
And then even after that, when her and I divorced, you know, you still have those relationships after that where it was like, okay, I have a phone, I can call you, but there's so much distance between us, and we're both doing this thing to build our future careers. Mm-hmm. We don't have the time to see each other. So they're all bittersweet, man. Yeah,
no, I mean, that it's tough. How old are you?
I'm 54. I just turned 54 this February.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite movies is this movie it's this trilogy of movies. The second one is Before Sunrise. Have you heard of these?
Yes.
It's like Ethan Hawke and that lady. Have you seen them?
Yes.
The second one, there's that line where she says, when you're in your early 20s, you imagine the rest of your life as having like all of these great loves that you experience, and then you get older and you realize that it only really happens a few times. Is that, do you feel like
Yes.
that's true?
100%. And then you're going to have a lot of sex. That's possible. You're going to have a lot of connections. But true, deep, intimate, loving connections are not going to happen a lot. And then it sucks because I've had one where I was deeply in love with this lady. She was deeply in love with me. My family was way more into it than her family at the time. And then she died. So
Wow.
I don't even get a shot at that one. That's just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, that one's just taken from me off the board. I don't even, we don't even get to experience it. And I still to this day, I think about her sometimes, man.
Some solid closure, though.
It is, man. It didn't feel like it for the longest time because, you know, like we said everything, there was nothing left to say.
Yeah.
And we kind of knew it was coming. But at the same time, it was like, yeah, I know it's coming. And it still hit me.
Yeah.
But when it hit, like when she passed and I knew she had passed, I didn't cry for 2 years. It was kind of like, yeah, I've made peace with it. And everybody, you sure? Yeah, I'm at peace with it. And then one day, I just realized, I went somewhere. I was going to some event, and it was something she always wanted to do. And I remembered it when I was there. Like, oh my God, she always wanted to come to this place that somehow life has led me to this moment to be at the thing she wanted to always see. I'm watching it with my own eyes, and I cried like a baby at that thing. And I was like, oh, life let me do this thing for her through my eyes, man. But yeah, man, you don't, and it sucks, man. Which is also after my last divorce, this is kind of why I went to therapy, and I just say, hey, I'm through. I don't want to have sex with anybody else. I'm just taking a break from this because I got to fix me. And I don't want to jump into that situation. I don't want to be in a situationship with somebody that's going to get big feelings. And I want to make sure I'm not hung up on the ex.
Yeah.
So I just kind of walked away from it, which helped me to like really diversify my interest in life, man. But it's tough, man. You're young.
I could tell you how that ended too. Is interesting because I would have told you this next time we hang out because it was crazy because this girl I was hanging out with, it was at some point, she and this also is another thing I hope she doesn't see, and this is very serious, is she earlier on it was like a situation where she was like, I like you, and I was like, I like you too, I don't want to be in a relationship. She's like, then we probably shouldn't hang out anymore. And so it was after like 3 days though, she was like, all right, let's keep hanging out though. And then that went on for another like couple of months.
Yeah.
And we kept hanging out. And it was like this past couple weekends, my brother had come and it was like a bunch of my friends at our place and she was there. We had a bunch of fun. And then the next day she was like, hit me with like the, what are we doing? And I was like, I don't know, you know. And then the next week she comes over, we hang out again, but it's a little weird. Like something's going on with her. I don't know. That was the last time I had talked to you about it probably. And then a couple days later, just completely stops responding to me. And and I was like, I texted her, nothing. Texted her the next day, like, what's up? Nothing. And then gave it like 3 days. I'm like, you good? And she was like, yeah, sorry, I've been MIA. I just have like a lot going on right now. And I'm like, cool, you know. And then like 2 weeks go by of like no communication. It just was like total like end out of nowhere. And I think at first I didn't really know what was going on, but like emotionally I felt like this sense of like, one, it was like a complete mystery. I didn't know like what happened exactly. But then I'd tell my friends, I'm like, should I text her again and ask what happened? And they're like, you know what happened. She liked you and you didn't want a relationship.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need it, you know, just give her that space. And I was like, fair. And, but still this whole time I'm thinking like, is it something I did probably, or like, you know, overanalyzing the whole thing. And this was like this past week, I was like seriously considering therapy. Like, I don't know how much of it had to do with that. I think some of it, I was just feeling a little lonely. There was like a few things going on where I was just like, damn, I do not feel good right now. It's like, the pilot Jimmy had talked about earlier started to get like nebulous as to like how it was getting made. This thing ended. So it felt like so much was just like going bad for me. And then a couple of days ago, she texted me and this is a bummer, but she was like, hey, sorry. My like estranged father is like dying and it's like a whole tricky situation. And I'm reading this like, oh, I thought this had to do with me. There's like a complete, like I totally thought I was like the center of the universe here, and there's plenty going on in her life that, you know, I don't need to add on to that stress. But I'm glad she told me because it made me kind of like feel a little bit like not left in the dark or anything. But
I think that's the thing. A lot of dudes, people, not just dudes. When I say dudes, I mean this, you know, gender neutral pronoun. I think a lot of us just need closure. We just need. You can tell me to fuck off. Just tell me that. You know, don't leave me out in the dark. And then if you tell me, hey, life's kicking my ass and I can't add you into that mix, respect.
Well, I'm glad you told me eventually. Even still, it's like, you know, I was some guy who was, I think going forward, maybe I'll be more wary of doing this where it's like, yes, you know, I was telling her I didn't want a relationship, but we were doing like every relationship-y thing you could be doing.
Yeah, that's...
You know, so I think part of me going forward will be wary of like, I don't know. I'm just a lover, man. It's like, it's hard for me to just like keep it business being like, no, you're coming over and then you're getting the fuck out. It's like, no, we're cuddling.
I'll
bro.
be on that lover boy shit.
Yeah.
I'm certified lover boy
shit.
But
it gives them an idea that, you know, you're having these like incredible feelings. And, you know, I liked her and whatever, but it was just my takeaway is just like, yeah, my idea that like, you know, her not texting me, this is about me. It's something I did. Like, you know, I'm at the center of this, but it's like, oh no, she's going through it and I feel bad. And like, you know, if you need me, let me know, but take your space.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you for thinking it was me because I mean, yeah, it was the unknown, the great unknown. Nobody likes the unknown, man. Mm-hmm. So
no, I mean, do you guys think that closure in relationships is like a real thing? Have you ever like had a relationship that you felt was like had a, you know, closed?
That did have closure?
Yes.
You have? Yeah.
Satisfying?
I have. Yeah, there's some when it closed, the door closed, and I was like, that's done. There's nothing else to say. They said everything they need to say. We don't have to go back and visit it. There's nothing left to discuss. And I was able to walk away from that a lot more head held high, just kind of like, well, what's life going to throw at me next? But man, when you don't know, nobody I know is good with the unknown, man. I mean, that's the number, like, not to get too deep, but that's our number one problem with death, man. Half the time it's like, what does happen on the other side?
Well, yeah, that goes back to the kind of evolution, you know. That's why we're afraid of the dark. It's because you can't see.
Yeah,
you know?
That great unknown, man. And when you have a relationship that doesn't get that closure, like I say, man, I still think about her. And it was just the idea of like, I think about what would have happened, you know, with this. And what about this? What if this wouldn't have happened? What would we be now? So, yeah, sometimes I love it when we can have the closure. I don't care if the closure is hatred. And that's happened. I'm old enough that there's some women that wish I was dead. Okay. And I understand them 100% why they feel that way.
Yeah. I would probably, I don't know if I'm thinking about like, or like, you know, it's a little ambiguous. It's like, what the exact definition of closure is to different people. But a lot of the time, I think when people say they want closure, they just want to like interact with that person again because they miss them or whatever. I think like the best forms of closure is when it's been like years and there's no, you know, it's like there's no feelings there.
Yeah.
Like if people are like, oh, I need closure from this, it's like, no, you're just really anxious and sad and going a little crazy and you need them to like tell you like that you're okay or something, or like it's that feeling is never going to go away unless you wait it out.
Because that person was a part of you, man. And that's the thing. See, I hate saying this because, man, my therapist used to hit me with these deep things and he'd talk to me about like soul ties. And I never, like I'd heard about that one time in a church, but I never really understood it till my therapist started breaking it down to me. But it's like anytime you're with somebody sexually, you create these soul ties with them emotionally and stuff. So you're kind of linked. Even if it was just sexually, you're creating this link with them. And then let's say we break up. That link's still there.
Yeah.
So now You know, what would, because I don't know about you guys, but man, even if you had sex, when those were those intimate times where maybe in the post-orgasmic state, you talked about really deep things, or you had cute moments, or you cuddled and you had those moments. Those are now creating those emotional soul ties. And you keep creating those, and then you tear that apart. Well, guess what? You still got all these links now that need to be severed.
Yeah, and it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's breakups are just grief. You're grieving someone that's still
You're
alive.
losing someone, and it's just crazy to think about because you're so close to that person, and it's literally one day they're there, and the other day you wake up and they're not sleeping next to you, and they're not texting you, and it's like, yeah, it's grieving. It's like I think the hardest part is I've gone through a lot of grief in my life. So I think a hard part of a breakup for me is that, like, okay, so this is like a death, but that person's still out there. And, so like this is a death that I can revive.
Yeah, I can send them a text 3 days in a row.
Yeah, this is a dead person. I can
save
text
them
until they block me.
I can say I love you over.
Right.
Don't do it.
Yeah, so
no, I think in my life in general, that's probably, if you could boil down like I think if you could boil down like everything to like its most essential quality or whatever, it's like, what is probably like the truest thing? It's that everything changes, or what is it, like entropy or whatever? It's like everything ends. Like we're in this constant kind of flow of moment to moment, you know? It's like I was just outside, now I'm in here, and then I'm gonna be someone else. It's like change is like the most constant, you know, thing. Even though that's like a cliche or whatever, you know, nothing is more constant.
I know, but that's why something constant like a girlfriend is so pleasant, because everything is changing. And then you have this constant, this rock, this person that's there through it all.
Yeah.
And then that person's gone. So you're also kind of grieving like a friend, and grieving something that was stable in your life and now is something sad in your life.
I think with breakups and with a loss, when you have something and then you lose it and you kind of realize, it's like, I don't know, I think it's just frustrating across the board to me. Like the idea that you can't just keep something, like moments or whatever. I think throughout my life, those are and I'm probably for like everybody, is that it's just the fact that, you know, when you have something, anything, whether it's a relationship or even like you're at a party that you're like having a great time at or whatever, it's like you cannot hold on to anything.
Nope.
It's like everything goes. It just,
everything's out of your, it
and it fucks me up. I don't like, I can be very nostalgic.
I know.
For people or for moments or whatever.
Me too.
So you just have to go through life with a understanding that if something good is happening,
enjoy it.
It'll probably go away, and it'll probably feel bad again, but understand, like, I'll probably feel that good again. It's usually true.
Yeah. And same thing when you're feeling bad.
When I'm feeling super bad after a breakup or after whatever,
too.
it's like, that'll go away. But you also feel so shitty again. It's this kind of constant cycle of like.
Well, time wears on you both. Even when you have a girlfriend, you're both. Yeah, we're going through this moment in time together, and you're my constant in this thing, but time is wearing away at you both. So you're both going through a change.
It's like you're at war with time or something. You know, the idea that you're going to be with this person forever. It's like, you know, it's
one of my favorite things about video games, man. Video games purposely do that to you guys. If you play a lot of games like RPGs, what they'll do is they'll give you this hero, and they'll give you this band that's going on this journey with you. And as you do the missions, you know what the end mission is. We got to beat this evil that's coming. But the more time you spend with this group, the less you feel like beating this evil that's coming, because now I got to break up this family I created in this games. And we do that to you in game writing on purpose.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that time is fleeting and that you got to hold on and cherish those moments. But it must too end.
Yeah, it has to. And that's another thing that I'm learning, is that's what makes life is so precious, is that these relationships that we have with these people are ultimately in the end temporary. And also like relationships like with girlfriends and friends and stuff, They people come into our lives and just walk with us for a little tiny bit, and then circumstances happen, and that's it. And you get this little sliver of time.
You get to enjoy it for a little bit.
Like with my last relationship, it's like just 8 minutes, little sliver of time. And you can enjoy that, and you can but that's what it feels like. It's gone. It doesn't feel like you don't bank. What's the value of banking memories or holding on to things, or there's no value in things that have happened, I guess, on paper. So then you look at growth, and did this relationship help me grow? And I guess you can look at that, because that can be.
You could also make the argument that things are only beautiful because they're temporary.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even really make any sense if it was like this infinite thing,
No, yeah. Wouldn't it be beautiful? It'd be ordinary. And that's what makes the highs high. And I'm really trying to hold on to like these like really good moments in my life lately. It's like there's going to be some rough ones ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like right now, like the other day I was just sitting in the back of the mothership, just watching the show, and like just comics on both sides of me. Adam is sitting to the right of me. We're like laughing, not together, but we're like experiencing this thing. And I made sure I was at the mothership for like 4.5 hours, because it was that one cold night. I didn't want to leave. But like I made sure that whole night to be like, this isn't, one, I'm laughing and my cheeks hurt, and two, hold on to this. This feels amazing. This is the first time I haven't thought about like sad things all night.
Yeah.
Hold on to that. Like really, like it makes it so special, because these moments are extremely special, and then you don't get to hold on. You don't get to keep them afterwards. So the only way to pay tribute to them is to really appreciate it in the moment and hold on to it.
Before my dad passed, he used to always say, even the bad moments, the good moments and bad moments are meant to make you better, not bitter.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it till he passed, and then I understood it. Oh, yeah, I don't like the hard things that I've gone through and the sad things that I've gone through, but I've learned from all of them, and they made me a better father. They made me a better friend. They made me more empathetic to somebody that's in those situations.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, from what I can tell of those, I think there's definitely a lot of growth that can happen, but I think that my life has been a series of learning, forgetting, and then relearning similar lessons over and over again.
That's everybody.
yeah, bro. There's some lessons I've learned once, and I said, we're not forgetting this one. I don't want this lesson planned again. We are done.
Yeah, it reminds me of like, because I wrote a lot at one point in a diary. I still try to, but at that time there was this author, Anna Easton, that I was obsessed with. I was trying to rip her off. And so I kept the diary for like a few years, and then at some point in the diary, the cancer happened. So I was like, now it's getting good.
Yeah.
Those sections of it, I'm like, it was a banger. I'll go back and read some of it. I'm like, yo, you were on some shit. It's also really horny too. I was trying to be like Bukowski, I was trying to be like, this is real. But the early on, like the second day, so I found out about the diagnosis. And I didn't tell anybody yet. I only had told like Christoph and Jake and my roommate. A couple days later was the premiere of my friend Rachel's documentary that she had made. And the documentary is about her friend Brittany, who had cancer, like a very rare form of breast cancer. And it's like a premiere. So it's like all of our friends in like a movie theater watching this documentary about cancer. Nobody knows that I just found out I had cancer. And I'm in there like weeping, because it's not only like a sad movie, but it's like I didn't know what the hell I was in for when I found out. Like I didn't know what it would be like. And so watching this documentary, it was like, hearing her story, I'm like, dude, this is going to suck. Like, fuck. And then, and so people are like, Joe must be really emotionally affected by this story. But, and then after, it was like a really weirdly cinematic moment of I'm like in the car with like all these, college buddies. And my one friend Vince was just like, yeah, did this movie get you guys to like think about like mortality or whatever? And like wanted to start a real like discussion. And I'm in the back seat and I just go, well, guys, I actually just found out a couple days ago I have testicular cancer. And they're looking at me like, are you joking? Like, is that for real? And I'm like, and it was just like such a trippy moment.
Yeah.
And so we go from the premiere to Rachel's place, or no, our buddy Adam's place, and they have this huge backyard, and there's like 15 of us there, and the sun is like coming down, and it's just there's like a barbecue. Frank is on the barbecue. He just got it. He'd been like talking about it forever, and he finally got it. And we're like standing in a giant circle, like throwing a frisbee super far. I had my shirt off, and like a lot of my acne on my back was like gone now, and so I was like felt really good. And it was just like I was pretty drunk, and there was all these people around me, and I was thinking of like how amazing this moment is, and like despite just finding out that I had cancer, it's like this just feels like so important and so great. And I like there's a lot of those moments throughout the whole cancer journey of like, this is what's important. It's like friends, it's the sun, it's like love. Like you have all these like kind of acid, like I know the meaning of life moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a big one. I'm like, I figured it out. Like that was a very big moment. And this is a long story, but I went to my diary at some point, and I flipped back like a year. Like I wrote all that stuff down about love and outside and like the barbecue and like all this stuff. And I go back to like a year before that in my diary, and I had just gone through a breakup with this like month-long situationship that was nothing. But I was writing about a time I was in North Carolina, like standing on a mountain, like with my friends, and like was writing about like how important like friendship is and the sun and like what I understand about life. It was like almost beat for beat what I had written like on the cancer day. So it's like I had this realization, went through some other stuff, had it again. I'm sure I've had it a bunch of times since then. It's like, that's been my basic point, is we're just constantly like learning and relearning the same things, and then we die. But I do think that is probably like the most important stuff in life, is just like holding on to those good moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're umbrellas for the sad when rainy days, bro. Because once again, you're going to have them. Yeah. Look, we're either about to go into a storm, in the middle of a storm, or we just got out of a storm.
Yeah.
All of us. Mm-hmm. You just don't know where anybody's storm is at that day. So
you really don't.
Yeah, Jimmy might be in the midst of the storm. You just sound like you're getting out of the storm. And I might have a storm coming, because right now my life is phenomenal. So it's going good, which makes me, we talked about it last week. It's like things are going too good. Like almost everything I'm touching is gold right now. So I know a rainy day is coming.
Yeah.
I just need to be ready for the rainy day. So I'm banking all these magical moments of gold and going, okay, I will hold on to these when the rainy day comes, because I know eventually it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So
there's a Kurt Vonnegut quote that me and my dad really like, where it was like in his book, Man Without a Country, where it's he asked his Uncle Alex like what about humanity like he doesn't like the most, and Uncle Alex is like, what I dislike is that people are so unaware of when they're happy. So this is like a very famous quote from him, is like, the next time you're surrounded by friends, sipping lemonade under a tree or whatever, take a second and say, if this ain't nice, I don't know what is. That's like something he like often repeats. But that's what me and my dad toast to, is like, we both really like that book, and so we'll toast it. If this ain't nice, I don't know what is. Sometimes it'll kill the vibe if you
really,
if you're too mushy, if like everybody's having a good time and you're like, guys, wait, we're here.
Yeah, let's take this in.
Sometimes you just gotta think it in your head and be like,
yeah.
Especially if you got my friends, they're jerks. They'd be like, whatever.
Yeah, shut up, you fucking queer.
Yeah, Roderick's being gay again.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen with my friends. They're jerks. They're evil.
Being grateful is gay.
Yeah, but I do it.
I
am in the community. The G means grateful.
It's grateful.
Yeah, so I'm in that community. But I think that's one of the things, man. It's like a lot of times we don't really talk about it enough. Matt Egger talked about that when he was on here, about being grateful and having that disposition of being, just being thankful and realizing how blessed you are. And, Max says it all the time, old pothead chimp. His favorite thing he says, man, is we get to do this. And the first time he said it to me, I thought, what do you mean, be broke? That's what you said about comedy. But then I thought about it. It's like, dude, my life is so badass and cool. Like, I would have never met some of the greatest comics of my life and had the moments I've had, like meeting Ian Finance and being backstage and looking at, Eddie Pepitone and Dave Attell standing right here next to me. I wouldn't have had those moments if I didn't choose this life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of those things like, yeah, we do get to do this.
We're lucky.
We really do get to have a rock star kind of life. It's not you're not going to get rich, but it is a rock star life, man. And you have great moments hanging out with people and friends. So
yeah, sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in it. Well, like with the pilot we're talking about, the basic problem we're having right now is like we have a guy who could give us 50 grand, but there's like problems that we're facing, like it's like all up in the air. We're like fighting with production companies of like wanting to change it. And they're like,
oh man,
it's like, oh, you can't get to 50 grand unless you do this or whatever. And so it's like, it's been really stressing me out and all this. And then I had a moment where I'm like, this is the most first world problem I could possibly have right now. I'm like, I'm literally like watching my dreams like almost coming through and like, like in the position where I could do this and like, it's like happening and I'm going like, but I'm not getting 50 grand. Like, it's like, oh, somebody won't give me like, you have to take a step back.
The thing that it could be, I could be living in the Roosevelt projects in Chicago.
Yeah.
Worried about gang violence, but I'm in Austin worried about a pilot. It's still a problem. I'm not going to minimize it.
Yeah,
it still sucks, but it ain't as bad as it could be.
I mean, if you really break everything down, I wonder if you could just, maybe this is like people can achieve this through meditation or something, is just being able to kind of live in a constant state of accepting what each moment is rather than hoping it's something else.
There are some people that do that. They practice that. Obviously, they probably slip up.
Yeah, that's what being present is. I mean, we're constantly either like worried about something that's going to happen in the future or kind of like ashamed or ruminating over something that's happened in the past. It's very rare you are fully accepting
of the moment that you're in at that moment.
And that's our safe space. When I'm fully in the present moment, I'm safe, because I'll ask, I'm like, am I safe right now? Okay, I'm safe right now. So I can chill and I can get out of crisis mode. And it all comes back and just constantly bringing myself back to the present because I'll drift away.
Because every anxiety is just up here. It's like these kind of daydreams.
It's like
they're all conspiracy theories in your brain.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a conspiracy in order to convince you why you should be feeling anxious.
Yeah,
it's like you feel bad. Here's a bunch of reasons
buy
why.
into it because it's addicting.
Your brain says, "You want to hear some conspiracy theories about you?"
Yeah, I know why you're feeling bad. It's because that girl actually isn't texting you because she hates you.
Yeah. Oh my god, the lies that I'll believe. And it's like I'm like buying into. It's like I'm putting on a movie on Netflix or something. I'm like buying into this delusion or this lie and telling myself it's real and getting sucked in and obsessing about it. And it sucks that being happy and present isn't a priority for me as much because like that's when all the good happens. And then like when you're present in the moment, that's when like. You go out and you meet people. Yeah. And like you ever like you have that like really epic night every once in a while that you really, really need. Cause like you haven't really, you're working really hard. Or
a couple days in and you're like
a little bummed out. And then you have that epic night and you go out and you see people and then you go to like a place afterwards and get food and you see other people that you haven't seen in a while. And then you're laughing and it's what it's all about. We can achieve that even when life's not perfect. So it's like
my dad's boomer word for that is the magic bunny. That's what he calls it, is like those nights you're describing where like every bunny, joke you're saying is like coming out right and you're like you're just feeling it. That's
you're
just but the hard thing is that it does go away. But I mean ultimately it's a matter of being present.
We have enough instances of us being that
I believe that it's going to happen again,
that we can and then we can believe okay, that's who we really are. Because like we'll believe the negative stuff that happens and use that as data as why we suck.
Mm-hmm.
But we can just as equally tell ourselves we're awesome and then have data to back that.
Yeah.
But I don't sit there smiling about all the cool things that I do.
Sometimes I do. Do you? I mean,
Okay, I do.
like
Yeah, I do.
You know how sometimes you'll go to a party and like maybe you'll wake up a little hungover and start to like ruminate over like the stupid things you probably said or like what does this person think about me? I'll have those. Like I'll have those like drunken anxiety mornings. I'll totally also have those mornings where I'm replaying all the cool stuff I said and like all the
That's amazing.
the jokes that landed and stuff.
No,
I can have a big ego. I mean, how can I not? This is all about me.
I know you're cool.
This is happening to me right now.
Yeah, we're here for you.
Not you guys.
No, I didn't exist until the second you walked into this
Exactly.
building.
I'm not going to text
Nothing,
you.
dude.
I'm going to make you think
Look,
this is all about you next week.
You guys are gone. It's true.
Yeah, dude. That's awesome, though. I feel like we just did a new age hour. That's what it felt like. That felt good.
What is this normally like? How does this compare to?
This is
what
going
do other
off the
people
rails.
talk about it?
This has been. I mean, we probably won't air this to be honest, but
No, actually, don't. I don't want any of the girls I mentioned to see what I.
yeah,
what I
this,
trust me.
no, this is great.
Actually, no. Please text me back. I want to be with you again. I miss you.
Use this episode to put a manifest.
No, I'm just
that.
kidding. I'm over it.
Okay. Dude, I love that, man.
Yeah.
The duality of man right here. That was our guest today.
I know.
All of the
Joe
moments.
Jax is a very special person, and
That's
we
what I
must
tell
protect
myself. That's what I tell
him.
myself all the time.
You're very special.
You're very special.
You're a special
And
boy.
like I'm going through a little bit of it right now, and I haven't really, I canceled plans a couple times, I think, and that's one thing I'm like, oh God, I hope he doesn't hate me.
No, of course I love you.
Just having trouble getting out of the house lately.
Yeah.
I'm going through a little depressive spell.
Where do you think that comes from?
It's coming from a lot of change. So, of course, working at the mothership is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting very grateful that he's booking me every week.
That's pretty
But
lit.
that's a lot of pressure, that I'm handling okay, but it's like a lot of different stuff just stacking up on top of. So like I'm kind of in like just like having to do the basic stuff.
Trying to stay above water.
Yeah, but also not like prioritizing happiness or being content or like all that stuff or
Do you feel like you sometimes confuse, because this happens to me, success and validation from, let's say, stand up or like anything, just like external success and validation with like things, you being happy?
Yeah.
Because if that's, sometimes I'll be like, feel such a connection to like how many shows am I getting? Like, is this thing going good with this girl or is this good thing happening to me? It's like I need those things in order to feel happy.
Right.
Which probably isn't good because when you don't have those things going on,
then you're sad.
fuck,
and that's
dude.
kind of codependency.
Yeah.
And yeah. No, I felt that plenty of
But
times.
it can go the other way. Maybe you're having a lot of external validation and, it's like, making that the most important thing in the world is sometimes can make just regular life seem a little less important.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I feel that. I just get like absolutely obsessed, and especially in the beginning of a relationship, and go crazy. But then also like I won't take care of myself, and then that will become a problem in a relationship.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're obsessed right now?
Well, right now it's kind of tricky, and like hyper focused on comedy. This is a very common problem. Is that like I'm just, I'm either doing a show or I'm napping and getting ready to do a show, and I have a little bit of time at the end of the night, but then I work 40 hours a week at a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so I have to sleep, and like the odd man out is always the
Just
girl in the
imagine,
relationship.
just imagine how much better your life will get when you're really successful and it's this times 10. Just imagine how much happier you'll be when you have no free time and
Oh my God.
and there's like the most pressure in the universe, and
Wait, are
everything's
you
going-
being sarcastic?
Yeah.
Like, oh, so I won't be happy.
Well,
So-
just imagine how like if things keep going well, how much more
yeah,
more stressful.
But I
it'll
do
be.
know that like I will never be nothing. No amount of success in comedy will ever make me happy. So like knowing that is that I have to be the one that's in charge of my happiness. So knowing that is like I can be happy sooner than I'm successful in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what I need. What I need is like to be content, to be okay, to be stable, to be happy, to be able to manage being sad. But
I mean, life teaches us
Yeah,
that. I mean,
that's
because
what I
you think
need.
about all the famous comedians that are no longer with us that took their own lives. Careers did not keep them happy.
No.
And money can't keep you happy, because if it did, there'd be no dead Kennedy children.
Yeah.
And that whole family
Yeah.
had more money than the Catholic Church, and all of them either overdosed or, took their own lives in suicide. So it's just like, I got hip to that early in life. And so I just kind of always was, even though I was suicidal and had my depression,
Yeah.
I have to keep remembering, like, you could blow up tomorrow. That's not going to make you happy. You
Not
got
at
to find
all.
the things that do.
Not at
Yeah.
all. Some of my happiest moments I had very, very little. Moments of sobriety, periods of sobriety that I've had in my early 20s.
Mhm.
Like I went to jail briefly, got out, was on probation, and was on probation and working a job. And like just having, it was like a really boring job, just inventory. So we would go to these stores and just literally count the shit on the, but like going and traveling, we go in these vans, so happy. I was so poor. I had no extra money. It was like making like these huge decisions at like McDonald's, like of, do I have enough to buy like a McDouble?
Yeah.
Was so happy. And I had a girlfriend that I really liked that worked at the same company. And like she was okay with me, but like so anyway, it's like and then another time was when I was in a rehab. I was in a rehab for 30 days and I had the most fun and I had nothing. I didn't have a house to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like happiness or has nothing to do with the success in comedy is I think just has to
feed
be a
your
part of it.
ego, like
Yeah, of
success.
course.
You know, it's
It's
like
gross,
which can
though.
feel good.
Yeah.
I love convincing myself that I'm a special boy. You know, when good stuff happens to me, but it's
Yeah.
It's not real. That's also a delusion.
No, it is real.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a delusion to, like I'm the most important. Like this, I deserve good stuff. It's
Right.
like I deserve everything to be
Well,
happening.
we're around ourselves all the time. It's hard not to become egocentric sometimes. We're like
And self criticism and when people beat themselves up, that's another form of like self-centeredness too.
100% when you're just constantly focused on I suck, I'm a piece of shit, I can't do this. It's like, okay, it's still all eyes.
You're still, that's all you're thinking
Just
about all day is
self-obsessed,
yourself.
yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
self-obsession.
Yeah, and then you're spewing it.
It's
the
probably better
negativity.
to be convinced that you're the shit.
Way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although then you can turn into like it can become arrogant.
An asshole, yeah.
Yeah. There's some sweet spot where you're like, or if you're thinking about other people a lot, I try my best to.
I don't know. I
to
think I
about
kind of
other
want to be in
people.
that sweet spot where it's like, I'm the shit, but I'm very thoughtful.
Yeah.
I want to be that.
We're
Yeah.
badass intellectuals.
That's the best. Yeah.
Nobody can even understand the depths of my compassion and understanding of the universe. And
Right.
I think you just wrote the
Because-
world's greatest emo song.
Yeah.
Right there. I don't know
Because no
what
one's
happened.
ever experienced.
Nobody
yeah.
can even wrap their heads around how much I care
No.
about other people.
Because there's never been someone like you before.
No, never.
That have cared so much.
No.
It's exciting times.
That's another that does fuck with me sometimes and this is kind of what I wrote my first movie about, the puppet show, is like the main theme that really bugged me when I was like younger, but I don't think about it as much anymore, is like, what is so important about me? I have all of these memories, all these people I've met, and all of this shit I've learned, and all this pain I've gone through, all this happiness I've experienced, a bunch of weird stuff too. Just
Yeah.
like, what the hell is going on? Like, none of this really makes any sense. It feels like it's going somewhere. It feels like it means something, but I have no idea. If you like, every teacher I've met in school, every person I've interacted with, like all of the like mundane memories that I for some reason remember like everything I've forgotten. I am left wondering like, okay, but so why have I been seeing any of this stuff? Like, what is going on here? What is so special about me that I have to learn all this stuff and go through these highs and lows? Like, I don't understand why I'm seeing through my eyes right now. It does trip me out. Like, why am I seeing this and not what you're seeing?
Right.
I don't understand it. We're getting into some bong rip thoughts here, but
we really
yeah,
are.
that feels like somebody ate mushrooms before this episode because we could go down that journey.
Yeah, just
In fact, let's pause this episode, eat mushrooms, and come back next week to talk about it.
I think it does relate to what we're talking about. It's all this like obsession with the self. I mean, even like this, this whole experience of like, this let's say going to therapy, or even it's like. I'm assuming like a lot of the problems, every problem you guys discuss in your podcast is just you thinking a lot about yourself. It's like, why? Yeah, it's what the fuck? Why?
Or it could be how your brain
so
processed the thing that happened to you. Because trauma. I do think trauma is we don't deal with it well in America.
Oh no!
And men don't deal with it at all. We just, my grandfather was in World War II. My dad was in Vietnam. There was no trauma, PTSD. They didn't have any of that. It was just like, you saw some shit, shell shocked. We call, you're shell shocked. And I was like, that man has seen death and trauma.
Yeah.
He's broken. You got to fix that.
And if you don't deal with your shit deals with you.
Amen.
So that it just
sometimes we're
mess.
just trying. I think a lot of times when you go to therapy, you're just trying to build a better version of yourself. How can I be the best version of me to get through this thing called life?
Right.
And sometimes it's doing this, sitting with two bros and just talking about the stuff that you're going through and letting it out. But there are other times you may go do that with a therapist because you don't want to talk to your bros.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like talking to the bros. I think men too. I hate seeing this shit about, I don't know, there's like these stereotypes of like, oh, my best friend, I don't even know what's going on in his life. Or like, it's like this whole like men are like this. And I'm like, no, I love hearing what's going on in my friend's life.
No, man. I call my boys and I tell them I love them. I know their kids' birthdays. I know who went through a divorce. I stay. I know
call
his
my
struggles.
I tell them you're gay. I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
They're the ones saying that to me when I say, hey, I love you, bro.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they know. They're
saying
saying that to me. They're like, oh my God, you're so gay. Shut up. What's going on? Oh.
No, I crave those close relationships, and that's why I value our relationship, because it's like, I want to know. I care about you, so I want to know what's going on. Yeah. And it's like, I don't want those. I get that. Like, those, like, I've been best friends, and I haven't had a single picture with them or whatever, those memes. Mm-hmm. But the friendships I value are the ones where I'm close and like where they know that I'm fucked up.
If you're going through something, you can
I don't
tell
have to hide
it. And it goes both
in.
ways too. I mean, if I'm talking to you, I want to know what you're going through just as much as you want to know what's going on with me.
And there will be judgment, but it will be outward judgment towards you, and they'll make it funny, And so
a lot of talking to your boys too is I need it to convince myself I'm not crazy.
Right.
I think if guys have that, they don't have that, they go crazy. If
100%.
if I'm in a situation like something's going on with a girl or whatever, like I'm kind of like figuring out how to read something, so I can just tell it to somebody, which maybe I do too much. I will tell like the first person who will listen, like what's bothering me.
Now, let me check this off. Tell me what you think about this.
They can say either you're being crazy or no, this is normal and you're fine. And
as long as they don't say, sir, this is a McDonald's. Do you want the triple or the double? That's usually where I should have told that person. I do want the Big Mac. Okay.
Yeah.
I love getting that outside perspective though, but it will blow my mind sometimes because I'm so sure that I'm right about something with like a fight with my girlfriend or something. And I'm so sure that she's in the wrong. And then I'll tell one of my close friends what happened, and then
that's why you have to adjust all the details to make it seem like you're in the right.
Exactly. But if you tell them at face value, and then it's like they tell you you're wrong, or like, dude, you need to apologize, or you need to call her. It's like all this stuff that's like very valuable when you get the honest truth, but it will burst my bubble sometimes. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I am wrong.
I think it's a very, very important quality because not everybody can do that. Because I'm sure you know people who will never admit they're wrong about something.
Yeah, of course.
I try to be very wary and just assume
Yeah.
I'm totally
Assume
I could
you're
totally be
wrong.
wrong.
I always assume there's a possibility I am so wrong on
Yeah.
this. But until proven differently.
Yeah.
And then when they prove it, I'm like, I hate this person.
Yeah, damn it.
Thank you for proving I was wrong. I didn't want to be, but okay.
Yeah, I'm down to apologize in like relationships or whatever. I mean, it's like, yeah, my bad. I have no. I try not to have a sense of preserving my, I don't know, ego or whatever.
Yeah.
It's because yeah, you can do something and you can hurt somebody's feelings or you can whatever, and it's just like, I'm wrong. I fucked up. My bad. But
I'm way
not
quicker to
everybody
do it
can
now
do
than
that.
I ever have been. Yeah, I think I used to do it a lot. Sometimes I used to put stuff on me that I wasn't wrong, and I just apologize. But now I think, hey, when I'm truly wrong, I have no problem just saying, hey, I was wrong about that. I didn't take your feelings into consideration.
Yeah.
My bad, and move it through. So.
And I got really lucky in my last relationship in that she was also very willing to admit when she was wrong.
Oh, beautiful.
After she'd had enough time to stop, being a fucking lady. I got to put up with that for a while. And
Gotta
she
have
goes,
your lady time.
And
yeah.
then she goes, sorry, you're right about everything. And I'm like, I know, it's been an hour. I realized it. That's only when it's true, though.
Yeah.
That's
But no,
awesome.
where you're two people who are both arguing, but with a goal in mind, not just like.
Oh, I don't stay with anybody that just wants to argue. Look, you're too angry for me. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not staying with anybody like that. If your number one love language is fighting,
Oh God.
marry Mike Tyson. Leave me be. I got anime to watch. I ain't got time for
But
this.
a really constructive, I don't even know if you can call it an argument, but like a really good constructive conflict can feel pretty satisfying and like makes you realize how much that person is like great. Like if you really figure it out and you can like get to the bottom of it and you can like apologize to each other, like that's great. Like those fights are where you realize like when somebody's really special.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And then there's other times when we get in that fight and I was like, you know what? Why am I here?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah. I'm basing this off my last relationship. I'm still very young. I mean, I have a lot of relationships to go through at this point. The last one was pretty good. First one, I was like 19. We were both children. I can't.
Yeah.
She would get mad and yell and like, but we were both just kids. It's so funny when a relationship at the time was like, this is the most important thing ever. And then now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, we both had a lot of growing to do. This was not.
I do remember this one girl from high school, and I wish I could meet her again because I don't think that ended well. I would like to see her and just be like, how was life? What happened to you?
That would be beautiful. Just to have closure with every, just to go around.
I don't know with all of them because I told you, I talked to this one girl. Dad was in the Klan, and he showed up to my job and threatened to kill me. So
Jesus.
No.
I was going to lunch, so it wasn't like traumatic, but it was still that he found out my baby was with a blind guy, and he was not happy about it.
Yeah.
Did you apologize? I'm just kidding.
I was not there. I only thing I did is I'm glad. You ever have like I used to say that song, that Garth Brooks song where you thank God for unanswered prayer. That she was that because bro, had I put a penis in her, I would not be on the sofa to regale y'all with stories of depression every week with Jimmy. So life worked out. Life made a way.
Divine intervention.
Oh, God. Yeah, no joke. All right. We've been in here for quite a bit. We better wrap this up. Where can we find you online?
I'm at Joe Jack's Comedy on Instagram.
Okay.
That's mostly where I post stuff. That's where I have the most clout.
All right. And I want to know about all the keep me up to date on everything going on with the pilot and your writings and your scripts. That sounds fascinating. I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you. No, yeah. I hope it goes good. And you'll see. Yeah.
You do. Everybody deserves their win. I hope you get this one.
Yes,
Jimmy, where can I find you online?
Jimmy.Moynihan. Moynihan. Why did I say it like that? Jimmy.Moynihan on Instagram. And you can find our podcast at Pain Management Podcast on Instagram as well. And it's available on Apple Podcasts.
It's everywhere.
And Spotify. It's everywhere.
It is
that
everywhere.
you want to be.
And you can find me at Coach Silky, at Coach Silky on Instagram. And a lot of good things are happening right now. Like I say, man, been on the road and, taking stands and things are working out good in life, man. And
I love it.
I love it. Life is
Life is good.
beautiful, brother.
When you let it be good, it's good. Oh, and YouTube, Crick TV. We're on Crick TV, and it's a lot of cool new stuff we got to watch before this episode that's going to be out on Crick TV. So pretty cool. There's one called Not Ones, which that's exciting.
I did like that.
Yeah, so you'll be able to see what that's all about very soon. And thank you guys very much. Thank you so much, Joe Jacques, for joining us. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
See you.